Just going to allow YouTube to send the notifications out. As you all enter, to make sure you hit the thumbs up. What's going on, everybody? Peace and blessings to y'all. I see y'all rolling in. This discussion is going to be very informative, y'all. It's definitely going to keep you sharp. It's going to keep you on point. It's going to help you avoid narcissists and energy vampires. Is really going to help you out because you're going to really, truly understand the psyche of the narcissist and the demon that's attached to it. And, this one right here is going to give you a lot of insight on this, right? Now, get the likes up on the way in. Make sure as you enter, hit the like button. Very important topic here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about reactive abuse and how to avoid it, right? In case you don't know what reactive abuse is, it's pretty much when somebody keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and then a person finally responds with aggression. And that same person that was pushing then goes plays victim, right? Then they go play victim and they go look at that person. That person is aggressive. That person is crazy. That person is bad, right? That's reactive abuse. And what y'all got to understand is that goes into pretty much narcissism. And I want to explain this, right? Because I want y'all to be sharp. I don't want y'all to fall for these tricks, these manipulators and the things that they do, right? Now, I want to go to a couple sources here. One source, and I would recommend everybody read this, right? I will recommend everybody reads Bushman and Baumeister's study. The article was conducted in 1998 by the American Psychological Association, Inc. It was done in Iowa State in the case Western Reserve University. And I'm just going to tell y'all right now, this is where the term poking the bear comes from. When you hear everybody talking about poking the bear, this is exactly where it comes from. And I also want y'all to understand that narcissists are actual demons. So I'm not just throwing this word around frivolously, right? A narcissist is a demon in ancient Greek. And I'm going to explain this to you. In Greek mythology, Narcissus, who was, well, we can get into all the semantics, but let's just go down to the etymology. The character of Narcissus is origin and in the original term of narcissism, a self-centered personality style. This quality in extreme contributes to the definition of narcissistic personality disorder, a psychiatric condition marked by grandiosity, excessive need for attention and admiration, and an ability to empathize rather. And, a lot of people who exhibit these traits, they practice reactive abuse a whole lot on people. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell y'all got to stay sharp. You can't let nobody get you in their game of emotional entrapment. Another name for reactive abuse is provocation induced retaliation. Provocation induced retaliation. And listen, I know I'm throwing a lot of very nuanced terminologies out there to y'all right now. And there's a reason for that, because a lot of these things master manipulators have been using, right? In order to play victims, in order to throw stones and hide their hands, in order to paint a narrative about a lot of people who have been targeted. See, a lot of the Most High's people have went through this, had people cast their name out as filth, lie on them, slander them, continually harass, you know, spread false narratives, um, you know, even if it's just a microaggression. When we respond, right, we're always labeled the bad guy or the bad girl. When we respond, it's always that we are the problem. How many of y'all can relate to that by a show of one in the chat? By show of ones, how many of y'all can relate to what I'm talking about because you've been there? You had people in your life that kept quote unquote poking the bear, but then the minute you respond, you're the worst person alive. If you have, that was reactive abuse because it's only human nature, according to the science, to respond when backed into a corner and continually harassed. Right? Now, I want to go here, right? Because the scriptures actually speak adamantly about these narcissists, and a lot of people don't get it. But in First Timothy chapter 2, it says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of them that are good, traitors, heady, high minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, for such turn away." Ladies and gentlemen, that is the narcissist. The narcissists are false accusers. They will accuse you of things that you are not guilty of. And nobody, and I mean nobody, likes being accused of things that they did not do. It says they're truce breakers, meaning you can have an agreement with them. It can be a verbal agreement, contractual agreement, or whatever the case is, but their word doesn't hold any weight or any validity. Why? Because they're self-indulged. It also says that they're despisers of those that are good. Those who do good works, they despise it. So, brothers and sisters, this is the narcissist. Those who are productive, those who have goals in life, such as yourselves, you God-fearing people who want to do righteous works and good works, people literally sit back and they despise it. They despise what you do. It also goes on to say that they will have a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof, for such turn away. So you're going to have people who can appear like godly people. They can talk the talk, but their actions would prove otherwise. These are narcissistic people. A lot of religious leaders are narcissists, right? Now, I'm going to tell you a little something about this reactive abuse that they like to practice. Matter of fact, I have a source I want to go to that speaks a little bit more candidly on that. Now, again, I'm throwing a lot of nuanced terms, and one of those terms are provocation, induced retaliation. Now, hold on one moment, just so you can get a little more insight on it from a different perspective. Let's go here, because we're going to give you the scientific terms behind this, and we're going to break it down.
Induced retaliation is a very nuanced phenomena in psychology. In fact, it's a fancy word for reactive abuse. It's a form of emotional abuse and emotional control. So, what happens in this?
And notice it's about emotional control. And a lot of these people will practice mirroring tactics. You know, they provoke, they malign and tried you and try you. You know, they criticize, they seek fault, they they accuse, they gaslight. And then when you respond, you're always the bad guy, and they always are going to play victims. They're always going to play victim, never seeing what they, not seeing that they don't know what they do. They know what they do. This, listen, the narcissists do this on purpose. They're trying to feed off of y'all's energy. So when you do respond to them, they know what they're doing. It ain't that they don't see what they've done. They know it.
This a person will keep on badgering you, poking you till you react.
Exactly. They will keep on badgering you until you react.
So they'll keep saying, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Da, 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 da. No, I don't want this. No, I don't like this. And then you will burst out. So you have reacted to the abuse, and now the focus is on them. They are going to play victim and say, see, look, this is what you do. You are so dramatic. My God, the way you react. Oh God, look at this. How can I live with this? God, look at your reaction.
And you know that's a very demonic thing that these narcissists do. It's very demonic. And I'm gonna tell you, you can attribute a lot of self-hatred for the reason they do this, right? A lot of these people have a lot of microaggressions. They have a lot of energy that's transmuted in the wrong direction, and they have a lot of fallacies and pains that they're dealing with, right? Things that they hold in. They have a lot of resentment. A lot of these people tend to be miserable people. They have a lot of resentment, a lot of regret. These type of people can never be satisfied unless they have constant validation. A lot of these people are just downright sinister. Let's go.
You are so sensitive, etc., etc.
But they'll make you the bad person when they keep poking at you.
So understand this is
Yes, they are hiding deep shame. That's absolutely what it is, Nini. They're hiding some form of deep shame, something they did, something they did.
a very subtle, very manipulative form of emotional abuse. And most narcissists do it because, in that case, you are no longer focusing on their bad behavior.
Yep, they deflect. They take all the focus off their bad behavior and they make it seem as if you're the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? And this is what they do.
You are now focused, and everybody else is focused on your reaction.
Yep, everybody, the whole thing is let me continue badgering this person and then let me make the public or people, let me make them focus on that person's reaction. Let's see how this person is an animal. This person is a savage. This person, look at him. He's evil. Look at her. She's evil. Meanwhile, they're the real villains.
So, what do? There are two things you need to do. You need to keep the calm and you need to tell yourself, oh, they are doing it to poke me. So,
yep. And it's not easy, but you got to discipline yourselves, brothers and sisters. This is the reason why, I got to draw awareness to this, because more often than not, brothers and sisters get caught up in this trap and you end up in a vicious, toxic cycle. And it's bad for your energy. It's bad for your growth, your production. It's just a spirit on these people that want you miserable like they are.
so that they will not focus on their bad behavior. Instead, they will focus on my reaction. So I'm going to keep calm. And number two, understand that it is gaslighting and it is an emotional abuse formula. Stay aware. The more aware you are, the more you'll be able to calm yourself down and understand that this kind of reactive abuse is a way of controlling you.
That's exactly what it is. It's all about control. Narcissists have to control the situation, no matter how it looks. If they can get you to be reactionary, they have control, right? You must understand that. And let me explain the God, the false God, the deity. by the name of Narcissist. In Greek mythology, we're talking about the actual demon that is Narcissist. Now, I want to read a little bit on this. Um, it goes on to say Narcissist, according to the best known version of the story, in Ovid's Metamorphosis, Narcissus rejected the advances, of all men and women who approached him, instead falling in love with his own reflection in a pool of water. In some versions, he beat the breast purple in agony of being kept apart from this reflected love, and his place sprouted a flower bearing his name. So we're talking about somebody who fell in love with their own reflection. So this is the origin of it. So I want you to understand the deep sorcery, the witchcraft, the the dark symbology of this. And you got people out here who like to mirror gaze. You got people who out here who like AKA scrying, because mirror gazing is scrying. When you just a person who's obsessed with their reflection, they can't be apart from it. That is a red flag because that person is um channeling the spirit of narcissism, right? That vanity spirit, that vain spirit, right? So it's witchcraft. Y'all got to understand this. Now, it goes on to say the character of Narcissus is the origin of the term narcissism, a self centered personality style. This quality is extreme. It contributes to the definition of narcissistic personality disorder, a psychiatric condition marked by grandiose and one who has the inability to empathize. And we read that. And now, well, listen, when it says they have the inability to empathize, pardon me, ladies and gentlemen, they cannot reason with another person. They don't care how their words make you feel. They don't care if their words are tearing you down. They don't care how you feel. And what's so crazy about this is some of the narcissists have sociopathic tendencies as well. And not only do they not care, but they know how to make it seem as if they care about your plight, but they don't. These are dangerous individuals. We're talking about sociopathic narcissists. And these people are beyond demented. And as I said before, the scriptures speak a great deal about these people. And y'all got to rest assured what's going to happen to these narcissistic devils out here. And in Galatians, actually, let's go. Yeah, in Galatians 6:3. For a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he's deceived himself. You got a lot of people who have deceived themselves, believing that they're something, but they ain't nothing. They are deceived. They believe that they're the epitome of all knowledge, the sum of all that is righteous. And a lot of times you see that in the religious communities, but really these people are nothing. Right? Proverbs 16:18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Y'all got to understand how to identify that spirit, knowing that they're full of pride, they're full of preeminence, they're egotistical, and they're going to fall. Because the Bible says pride comes before the fall. Thank you for the contribution. Ethnic says narcs are caught red-handed doing evil to you. They'll keep poking at you and get you to respond negatively, and then they get the moral high ground. Exactly. It's all about leverage with these workers of iniquity. It's all about leverage with these witches and warlocks and wizards. You got to understand that it's magic, it's witchcraft, it's sorcery. And that's why you got to bind all those wicked spirits. You got to bind the spirit of psychic projections, manipulation. Because this is what these people do, right? Proverbs 21:24. Proud and haughty scorners Proud and haughty scorner is his name, who dealeth in proud wrath. Let's read that again. Proud and haughty scorner is his name, who dealeth in proud wrath. There's a lot of people who out here who are watching God's chosen people, and they're scorning. Scorner is their name. They dealeth in proud wrath. They're proud to try to infuriate you. They proud to have various tactics that can make you look bad. They they pride themselves in sowing discord, which the Most High hates. They pride themselves in being able to break something down, never building anything up, but only being able to destroy something. And y'all got to understand, the only reason a lot of you brothers and sisters get targeted by these individuals is because they see something great. They know that you're somebody special. And so, being the demons and monitoring spirits that they are, the only course of action is to try to tear that down. That's the only thing they can do, right? They got a lot of hate in their heart. They got a lot of free time. A lot of devils have a lot of free time because they're idle in spirit. Now, somebody says, what if you're in a marriage with a narcissist? Well, that means you're unequally yoked. So you know what the Bible says about that. You cannot be unequally yoked with non-believers because a narcissist is not a believer. A narcissist can appear like one, but they're not. Right? Only thing they believe in is themselves to be God. Right? And I'm not telling you what to do with your marriage because I don't know your circumstances, but I'm just keeping it Bible. Now, James 4:6, but he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. God resisteth the proud, those who are proud, these egomaniacs. You got to listen to when people talk. If all you hear is me, I'm this, I'm that, and they always grandizing themselves to be more than what they are, that's a proud person. You can hear it when they talk. Those people are vain. Every every topic of conversation always deviates back to them. Why? Because they're proud. They're not humble. The Most High is not going to give grace to those people. So don't let them get y'all out of character. Don't let these devils get y'all out of pocket. Understand that they're cowards. A lot of these people have to roll in packs too. They get off on subverting households. The Bible says they get off on subverting households, meaning to cast your name out as filth and they can convince other people. That's what they get great pleasure out of that. They get great pleasure out of that, and they can't stand alone. It has to be triangulation. They cannot stand alone. They have to group up. So y'all got to understand that this a lot of the times causes gang stalking. And the Most High hates narcissists. Proverbs, and we in 6:16. These things doeth the Lord hate. 7 are an abomination unto him. Peep this. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. Now, the narcissist who practice reactive abuse, they have wicked imaginations. They're constantly trying to hunt God's people. Why? Because they're rattled with evil spirits. They're loaded with demonic influence. It says, feet that are swift to do mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. Man, God hates one who sow discord among brethren. He hates it. He hates those who have a lying tongue. So you got to understand that the Lord going to deal with these people accordingly. They're playing a very, very dangerous game with you, brothers and sisters. How many of y'all have seen it? How many of y'all have seen the Most High remove people who done you wrong? Now, this article, this is very interesting stuff here because we're talking about reactive abuse. And again, I brung this up. Bushman and Baumeister, back in 1988, they conducted some experiments, right? Now the PDF is available on Google. You can look this up. There's one place in particular that I wanted to highlight here, right? Because my job is to make sure that y'all avoid these people at all costs. But in the process, I ask that you all get the likes up on the video so other people can get the message as well. But I want to give you the basis of this study, right? Now, let me see. And I really recommend you read the whole thing, but it was one part in here. And this is around the part I was looking for. Now, in a discussion that was done, and this particular page here is called "Does Self-Love and Self-Hate Lead to Violence?" And what I wanted to point out is it reads, it says, study, I found the ego threats in the form of insulting, negative evaluations, increase aggressive responding for all type of individuals. So it's saying that it's natural for a person to respond to insulting and negative evaluations. So if somebody's negatively evaluating something, right? Negatively evaluating, which, people do that all the time and they have the right to do it. It's not against the law, but it's only natural when somebody, listen, it says studies found that the ego threats in the form of insulting, negative evaluations increase aggressive responding for all type of individuals. So anybody who is undergoing negative evaluations, they're going to increase in an aggressive response. It's only human nature. That means imagine everything you do. This is what I want y'all to understand. This is what the narcissist does. Imagine everything you do is met with a negative evaluation. This is a lot of times why violence happens with children doing something to their parents. Why? Because every time that child is doing something right, guess what? That parent tears that child down. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times this happens. But it's human nature to only respond aggressively when that happens. Now, see, listen, these master manipulators, these demons, these narcissists out here, they are wise when it comes to evil, right? A lot of us, we be walking around green. We don't know how to manipulate. We don't read the 48 laws of power. We don't play manipulative mind games. We're not into we're not into warlock or witchcraft practices. And so we don't know these things. Like, we have to look at the science behind this, because that's what these people have been doing. Just what they've been doing. And a lot of y'all have fell victim to that. Some of y'all have lost years of your lives because of these narcissists and the abuse that they brought forward. And it could be any gender. Hold on one moment. It could be any gender. But the Most High is going to deal with these people. Let's go to Romans. Romans 12:3. And it reads, for I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according to as God have dealt to every man the measure of his faith. This is why it's important to not think so highly of yourself. This is why it's so important that you stay humble, you stay rooted. This is why it's so important, brothers and sisters, that you don't fall into that spirit of being too high minded, thinking that you're more than what you are. Just like Kanye West, we did a reaction of Kanye West. Everybody has considered this man a genius, and all he does is make music. You know, where's the humility in these celebrities? You call me a musical genius. I understand you like my music, right? But what about a humble response like, yo, all I do is make music. I'm good at making music. But you heard that grandiose rant that he went on. You heard the lack of accountability. You heard the victimization mentality. Kanye was a victim. He victimizes himself, but he doesn't take responsibilities for his actions. And taking responsibility isn't just saying, yeah, I made a mistake, but look what they're doing to me. No. Accountability is saying, you know what? The reason why I'm going through what I'm going through in Hollywood or whatever the case is because I signed on the dotted line. I made whatever sacrifice. I dealt with this woman, and this is the reason why my children are in this situation. That is taking accountability. But see, a narcissist will always deflect and shift the blame. They will always shift the blame. All right. And if you can, everybody, get the likes up. And you right, Hitman. The man married a witch. He willingly married a witch. Isaiah 12, I mean, Isaiah 2 and 12. For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought down. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody who ever, displayed reactive abuse towards you, they're going to have to pay the consequences of that. Right? And whatever form that may look, I'm not saying everybody going to be dashed across stones or blasted into pieces for the mistakes that they may have made in life. We all make mistakes, but I'm talking about those calculated demons that were cunning hunters to sow discord into your life and to be a breach. They gotta deal with some severe consequences for that because, they're doing all the things that the Most High hates. And the Bible tells you that the wickedness of one can cause great destruction. And there's people that's been in y'all's lives that's done that. Somebody says a lot of introspection is required to be able to break away from being that way. Yes, and it's going to take that demon of narcissism to be casted out. And yes, in case y'all just joining, narcissist is actually a demon. It's actually a demon. People throw that word around so often, but they don't understand the origins, right? It is in Greek mythology, but all demons have names. Hate is a demon. Jealousy is a demon. These are actual names of demons. Now, what do we learn about Narcissus, the actual demon? In folklore and mythology, we knew that he fell in love with his own reflection, right? But what else happened? Narcissus became thirsty. He found a pool of water which in Ovid's account no animal had ever approached. Leaning down to drink, Narcissus sees his reflection, which he finds as beautiful as a marble statue, not realizing it's his own reflection. Narcissus fell deeply in love with it. Thus both Tyseus' prophecy and nemesis, which is another demon, curse came true to the same instance. Unable to leave the allure of this image, Narcissist eventually realized that his love could not be reciprocated, and he melted away from the fire of passion burning inside him, eventually turning into a gold and white flower. So imagine how crazy that is. He was into himself so much. Narcissist was into himself so much through the spirit of vanity, he self-destructed. What do y'all think gonna happen to the narcissists in your life, the narcissists that you've came across, who are into themselves so much they can do no wrong? They can't take accountability. They're always shifting the blame. They're always playing victim. They're gonna self-destruct. They're going to self-destruct. And please, ladies and gentlemen, get the likes up. We got to get the video spread because there's a lot of powerful information here. It's very insightful. This video will keep you on your P's and Q's. You will have this video as a record. You can always come back to this when you believe that you're going through some type of manipulation. And the whole game is about emotional entrapment. And this can happen in any situation. It's all about emotional entrapment. This can happen with, your coworkers. This can happen with friends, family, colleagues, associates. It can happen in intimate relationships and so forth. And some of you all have experienced this, but you didn't know what you were going through. You didn't know what was happening. And you had to look at yourself and say, man, am I the one who's really crazy? Like, what's going on? And this is what a narcissist will do. A narcissist will have you question yourself. They'll keep poking the bear, poking the bear, poking the bear, harassing, badgering, disrespecting, negative evaluations, criticism, hatred. And when you respond, you like, damn, am I a bad guy for responding? Are you a bad woman for responding? No, that's a natural human response. You're being targeted by a demon or demons. And what you're supposed to do is remain quiet. Because you're supposed to snap into it and say, you know what? I see what's going on. So many of you real brothers out there, real sisters out there, people trying to gaslight you to trick you out your freedom. They don't want to see real ones breathing fresh air. They want to see you. They want to see you incarcerated. They want to see you crashing out. They want to see you hurt. That's what they want to see for you. But no weapons formed against y'all will prosper. They will always shift blame. They will always play victim. They will always play victim. Somebody says, yeah, I've been there most of the time. I walk away. That's what you got to do. Somebody said I had to share this message. It is so vital. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing the message. Somebody said, even people who don't normally say anything will even speak on the situation. Right. Someone says they are pissed because I survived and succeeded, people falling down. Right. And when you survive the onslaught, when you survive being targeted, gang stalked, persecuted, a lot of them be in shock. A lot of them don't know what to do because all their carnal weapons failed against you. And they don't know how you landed on your feet. They were hoping to see bloodshed. They was hoping to see a collapse. They was hoping to see you completely destroyed. But it didn't work. Somebody said they are headed towards death, messing with God's folks. Exactly. And, this is one of those situations that you got to look out for, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, avoid the narcissistic abuse, avoid what we call reactive abuse. And the other term for it is let's get that other term that we've put in here. Actually, we got one more scripture too, but the other term being proactive induce or provocation induced retaliation. Provocation induced retaliation. In case you're wondering what that is, we'll play that one more time and then run another scripture. Let's go.
Think about it. So, provocation induced retaliation is a very nuanced phenomena in psychology. In fact, it's a fancy word for reactive abuse. It's a form of emotional abuse and emotional control. So, what happens in this? A person will keep on badgering you, poking you, till you react. So they'll keep saying, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Da, 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 da. No, I don't want this. No, I don't like this. And then you will burst out. So you have reacted to the abuse, and now the focus is on them. They are going to play victim and say, see, look, this is what you do. You are so dramatic. My God, the way you react. Oh God, look at this. How can I live with this? God, look at your reaction. You are so sensitive, etc., etc. So understand, this is a very subtle, very manipulative form of emotional abuse. And most narcissists do it because in that case, you are no longer focusing on their bad behavior. You are now focused, and everybody else is focused on your reaction. So, what do? There are two things you need to do. You need to keep the calm and you need to tell yourself, oh, they are doing it to poke me. So that.
Exactly. So somebody said it. It'll make you feel like you tripping. And that's what they'll do. So what do you got to do? You got to realize what they're doing and act accordingly.
That they will not focus on their bad behavior. Instead, they will focus on my reaction. So I'm going to keep calm. And number two, understand that it is gaslighting and it is an emotional abuse formula. Stay aware. The more aware you are, the more you'll be able to calm yourself down and understand that this kind of reactive abuse is a way of controlling you.
Exactly. And I want to take y'all to one more scripture here because this is what we got to look out for, especially going into 2025. Well, we've been here for a minute now, but this is what we got to look out for. But I want to close off with Matthew 23:12, and it reads, "And whoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall be humble himself shall be exalted." So remain humble out here, folks. Remain humble. Those who try to exalt themselves, those who try to finesse, finagle, destroy, manipulate, those who play all these demonic games and these nefarious tactics that they use. Listen, the Most High is going to cast them down, and those who remain humble is going to be exalted, right? All praises to the Most High. Y'all be safe out here. More material coming. Shalom and peace.